Hey friends, happy Wednesday, 22nd of September. It's nice to be with you. God willing, I'm away today at the clergy golf tournament in Saratoga. The only time in the year that the clergy get together, spend time with each other. Try to actually build some relationships and pray with each other and do a little bit of recreation. We're not really working, we're not studying, we're not planning, we're not talking, we're not processing. We're just together doing a little bit of recreation and praying. So, please pray for your clergy that we could respond to the call from God and truly be servants like we need to be for you. So, I'll give you a daily reflection on the readings, and then I invite you to read the readings if you haven't yet. Click the link over on the side to go to the bishop's website. Then turn off your screen. Spend some time with God before you move on to everything else. Okay, very good. First reading, Book of Ezra. It's kind of funny, we're coming to the end of Ezra. Monday, I didn't get you a video done, and then yesterday, Tuesday, we had special readings for Matthew. So I'm just going to give you a little data dump on Ezra, and then that's going to lead into Haggai maybe tomorrow, and I think Friday. So a while ago, we would have talked about the exile of Babylon. And so that gets situated at 587. And boy, I know your eyes are going to glaze over, but because we're doing history, but hopefully I can make this at least a little bit interesting and not terrible. But so the Jews in Jerusalem were defeated by the Babylonians, the greatest military empire at that time. And it was classically terrible. There was, famine and disease and a shortage of everything. And people were, eating cats and rats and maybe even each other. And then finally the walls are breached and there's everything, murder and rape and torture and looting and pillaging and all of those things. And, painful moment. And then, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Judah, would have watched his sons tortured and then killed and then had his own eyes gouged out. The last thing that he saw was the extermination of the kingdom, and then loaded with heavy chains and carted off to Babylon to die. And that's the end of the visible line of the successors, the kings of David. They go underground until Jesus Christ is born. The Babylonian exile, incredibly painful. But there's hope. Jeremiah the prophet said, God is doing this to recover the lost Sabbaths for the land. So for 70 years, and that would have been the reading on Monday, Ezra would have been invoking that prophecy of Jeremiah. But it's that there's hope. There's punishment, but the punishment will come to an end. And then God will again favor the people. And that would have been, again, the reading on Monday. So the Babylonians fall and the Persians rise up. And Cyrus was the king of the Persians. Everybody hated him in the ancient world. He was worse than the Babylonians, frankly. But he did one good thing, which was that he let the Jews go back to Jerusalem. And so at least in our scriptures, Cyrus is not hated like he is all across the Near East. Babylonian exile, probably right around the time 587. The return, right around the time 522, before the time of Jesus. And so that's just situating stuff. Now, let me tell you a moment about Ezra. Ezra is a priest. Ezra is sent on behalf of King Cyrus. Ezra's job is to help get the temple restored, rebuilt and rededicated, and then associated with that, get Jerusalem to be a functioning place with walls and government and all of the things that an ancient city would need. All of it, right? All of it. God's faithful to the promises. Even in really hard times, even in the times that just feel like absolute destruction and exile, God still has us. Perhaps a reminder in the midst of a pandemic. But then that first reading, I really appreciate it. The language is weird to us, right? But at the time of the evening sacrifice, I, Ezra, rose in my wretchedness, and I fell on my knees. Remember, this is one of the most powerful people, at least in Jerusalem. He's connected to the most powerful king on the face of the planet. He's an important person, and he's describing his own wretchedness. He's recognizing that before the creator of heaven and earth, he is a speck, and he hits his knees. And it's always that tension between, knowing that we are created unique and lovable and good and known by our God, but also that we are not God, and that all of the ways that we build ourselves up with importance in this world don't exactly matter in the grand scheme of things. And I say that to Jeff Bezos and to presidents and kings and anybody else, right? So I in my wretchedness rose up. The simpleness, the humility of being a creature before our God. Flip over to the gospel. Jesus sends his followers out, tells them, go out and rely totally on God, right? And you can read the instructions. I can't remember exactly how they flow in Luke, but no walking stick, no sack, no money, just go. Trust in God. And this makes me think of like the vows that monks and nuns and brothers and sisters live, the religious types, not diocesan priests, but they take those vows of poverty and chastity and obedience. And the idea is that they are living the kingdom of God, especially in their poverty, right here, right now. But also they let go of their earthly ties. They let go of their own ego and their own ambition to just be. How about for us today? How is it that we need to rely on God as creatures? Not trusting in our own strength, not trusting in our own resources, not trusting in our own skills and abilities and privilege, but to just trust in God today. What's one thing that maybe we are attentive to, stressed out about, worried about? What's one thing that maybe we're bringing the best of ourselves to because we know we can do it? Maybe as we read these readings, we just turn off the screens and we remind ourselves that the only reason that we can do it is because God has made it possible. Let's ask for God's grace to flow in us and through us. Let us remember that blessed, beloved creatures that we are wretched servants. I don't know if that word is helpful or not, but to just ask that the grace of God might be present in whatever we need this day. Read the readings prayerfully. Turn off the screens. Spend some time in prayer. Pray for each other. Pray for folks that are struggling. God bless you.